What's absolutely incredible about this week's chapter of One Piece, man? Normally, when Nami has a moment like this, I would just come on here, yell Nami Greatness for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, knowing me, 30 minutes, and then I'd be out of here. Like, yo, we're good. But this week, there was more than just a Nami Greatness, man. That is the craziest part about this entire chapter. There was so much other awesome sauce, from incredible character interactions with Sanji and Zoro and the how hilarious that was, but also just how awesome it was to see the two interacting again in this type of way. The way that we see that Luffy, being their captain, brings them together. You know what I mean? They may always bicker, but by the flag knows when it comes to that man taking dubs, they're like, yo, we're putting all that to the side. Where's Yamato going? The excitement, you know what I mean? But before we get into any of that, let's get into the Nami stuff first, and then we'll get into the rest of the chapter, man. Now listen to me. Like I was saying in the reaction, there's just something about moments like this when it comes to the Straw Hats and seeing the consistencies of their characters from the beginning of the series until now. That's a lot of the reason why the earlier stuff in the past couple of chapters with Robin, Sanji, and Zoro, and especially Luffy, had me losing my mind. Where I was like, yes, and Chopper in his chapter too, of like, yo, these characters have always remained the same, but we've seen how they have grown. And we've seen that growth happen before our very eyes, but we see that we see how the series and the journey that they've been on have allowed them to stay true to themselves in ways that they probably would not have been able to had they not found each other. You know, that's one thing that's really special about this story and about stories like this. But in this week's chapter, in Nami's case, we got to see one of those amazing moments back in chapter 995 with the Luffy will become king of the pirates scene. But here to have a follow-up to that, where in the midst of, we saw exactly what was taking place within this chapter. Big Mom on one side, Ulti on the other. We saw the classic Nami trolling and the hilarious stuff that came from there. This chapter was genuinely hilarious. I can't wait until this gets animated, you know, with the voice acting cues and the comedic timing. Cannot wait for that in the anime. But even in just manga form, hilarious chapter. But directly after that, to follow that up with the Komainu getting smacked by Ulti. And like, we understand exactly why Ulti's doing this. Like, you just smacked around her brother. Big Mom just went down and obliterated page one. Ulti wants a piece of the business. And as somebody who completely respects that, I'm like, all right, Ulti, go up and like somewhere. But she did the one thing you can't do, man. You see, not only can you not hit animals, you know, hitting the Komainu was already a massive, you know, that we can't do that around these parts, even though Ulti technically is a dinosaur. You know what I mean? You catch him a drift. Then we go from that to the biggest no-no you can possibly have. And that is to smack Tama. You don't smack Tama, man. You don't smack Tama, son. So when Tama got smacked, Nami was like, no, enough of this. Luffy's daughter, you ain't touching her. That's the one individual that's here that you ain't touching. I'm pretty sure Big Mom feels the same way, which is why I'm sure that when Zeus comes back and it's like, Big Mom, or Mama, can I please enter the Pokeball of dear old Nami? And Big Mom's gonna be like, yo, you good? You good, son? You know what I mean? At least I hope that's what happens. Can you imagine? Like a sign of respect, like, all right, see what you can do with Zeus. Or even if it doesn't, what about if Zeus himself just, even though it is Zeus technically is a portion of Big Mom's spirit. Imagine his attachment to Nami growing to the point to where it's like, screw Big Mom, I'm going to Nami. But regardless. That aside, to have it in this chapter, a moment like this where we have seen the backstory, you know, with Nami and Bellemere, and just how important that is to her, and how that has been so consistent throughout the story, especially post time skip, man. We have been seeing so many instances with this very type of conflict post time skip and how Nami always stands up for it. And it's always awesome. It's always incredible. It's always when she's at her very best. But to have a moment like that here in front of a Yonko and a Toby Roppo, it's completely different. Completely different, because we know that she's completely out of her comfort zone here. You know, it's not like she can just, she doesn't even have Zeus back yet. She just has what she knows and what she has. And in the midst of all of that, screw all the nonsense. I don't care about the consequences. I don't care about what happens after this. I'm smacking ulti, and if she wants the business, she can have it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, let's go. Let's throw down. Usopp's even like, yo, we're supposed to be escaping. She's like, nah, son. Nah. And I love that moment so much. She's like, yo, I'm not only am I not moving from here, I'm giving her the L. Like, I'm catching a W or whatever means necessary. I will take care of this thing I just caused. I'm gonna whoop her. You know what I mean? Like, and I just love that. I love that so much because once again, it's showcasing how they've all rubbed off on each other. Because even though Nami for sure has done this multiple times within the story, but to do this in a Yonko's territory, that is clear influence from the king, man. Clear influence from Luffy and the others in this journey. And that's what I really loved as well about the Robin moment and the Zoro and Sanji moments that we had earlier on in the arc, because they were very consistent with their characters and what exactly, you know, they've been on this massive journey. And so to see all of that growth coming into fruition within this arc, or even if it's not necessarily growth, but the consistency of it, even to now, to, you know, it's one thing to act a certain way when you're facing somebody that is on your level. When you're facing somebody that is beyond your level and you're still keeping that same energy, you got my respect. You have my respect. When you keep it 100, regardless of whether it is the person on top or the lowest of the low, you got my respect, man. And so to see that consistency within the crew is something I love to see. And so you love to see it, man. Nami Greatness. This was truly an incredible moment. This is going to be a moment that when it's handled in the anime, especially with the way that Toei has been going, it's going to be an extreme mark-out moment. As a Nami fanboy, this moment was incredible. It's been the main thing I've been thinking about today. And I can't wait to see it animated, man. Great stuff all around from everyone that was involved. And I'm genuinely curious on what's going to happen now with Big Mom in this scenario, because Big Mom right now is taking a step back. It's like, yo, hold on a minute, you know, because Tama just got smacked. So is Big Mom gonna do exactly what she said in this chapter? And after ulti gets wrecked, then she's gonna turn and try to take on the Straw Hats. And that's when Kid steps in and is like, yo, you gotta see me in hands first. So we'll see what happens with Big Mom whenever the time comes. But I am genuinely curious on whether Big Mom is going to gain some sort of respect for Nami, because you got to think back to what Lola stated, right, in terms of her mother and going out and meet her in a new world and whatnot. And that's always been the biggest theory when it comes to Big Mom becoming an ally at some point in the series. Though I'm not sure if Big Mom becomes an ally here, you know, within Wano. I think it's something to think about in terms of Nami remembering Lola or having some sort of a flashback or a sequence with Lola and a moment of respect between her and Big Mom. Even if they don't necessarily become allies, Big Mom letting her go because she helped her daughter or something around those lines. And then, of course, not only helping her actual daughter in Lola, but helping an adopted daughter in Tama. And Big Mom, you know, out of respect, lets Nami go, even though she wants to destroy the Straw Hats. I think that would be an incredible moment, and another layer on top of Big Mom's already complex and amazing character, right? And I would definitely love to see her own internal conflict when it comes to a situation like that, because it would really show us exactly what she prioritizes, and we know how she is as a mother. So I would like to see where Oda's going to take that after this whole thing goes down. But before this whole thing goes down, we gotta have some Nami versus ulti awesome sauce. I am so hyped for this fight right now, man. It's kind of crazy, right? Because I'm hyped for so many different battles taking place, you know. But the way that Nami versus ulti and the way that Robin and Black Maria with like, there was like a personal vendetta, bro. Robin's facial expressions had me like, yo, now we have Nami, same energy, yo, like, let's throw down, ulti. You want the business? Let's throw down. You have that, and then whenever we kick back to the live floor, I mean, it's like every single battle has its own level of intrigue and own things to keep you interested. But it's like, no matter where we go in the following week, it's like, we're finally back to this, or whatever the case may be. But I am super stoked for Nami versus ulti, not only for the eventual and inevitable, honestly, Zeus moment where Nami's able to hit ulti with a massive thunderbolt or whatever the thing's gonna be, the humongous brand new technique that is gonna be in Treasure Cruise and in Pirate Warriors that I know I'm gonna be spamming because it's Nami. Come on now, man, you know? So super looking forward to that massive attack that she's gonna pull out on ulti to finish the job. but I can most certainly expect a battle of legend, because already up until this point, we have seen resilience from Nami's side and tanking headbutts. So now, when an angered Nami is going to be taking on Ulti, and Ulti continues to go at her, and Nami's like, nah, son, I ain't going down. It's gonna, this fight has the potential to be super, super good. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. From so many different standpoints, from the choreography to the character moments between both Nami and Ulti. It's the perfect storm, and I can't wait for more from the two. Now, going back up, I want to start up all the way at the beginning, because I want to talk about Kiku and Izo here for a little bit. I am so happy that Oda gave us, even though it was a few panels, it was still really amazing to have a couple panels dedicated to the fact that Izo did leave Kiku behind. I mean, it's something that took place. And so to have that dialogue within all of this really does show how much it meant to them. You know what I mean? So shout out to Oda for giving us this little bit of insight into how both of them felt about that particular moment where they were departed, because for so long they were together. And so I'm glad we got that. And then shout out to Kiku, man. I mean, an amazing moment right here. Like, just begging Kinemon, like, yo, allow me to finish Kanjuro. I'm not going to fail this time. I'll make sure to finish the job. And now we're going to have a situation where it's Kiku and Kinemon going after Kanjuro. I don't know what that's going to lead to. It's going to be emotional regardless of where it does end up leading to, whether it is both of them completely taking out Kanjuro, actually killing him, or whether that is the moment where Kanjuro gets his at this point, man, does Oda really want Kanjuro to be redeemed as far as being alive? Like, I don't understand Kanjuro being redeemed after he's killed, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know what Oda wants to do with his character, because after doing the Odin stunt, it's gonna be tough, man. You know what I mean? So we gotta, just look at how they reacted whenever they saw Orochi. They were like, yo, this dude, he's nothing compared to what Kanjuro just did to us, man. We gotta keep going. So Kinemon and Kiku are about to try to meet up with Kanjuro. That is going to cause for some extremely emotional storytelling. We have already had some very emotional moments with the two earlier on, outside of the gates of Onigashima. But it's like, son, whenever we get to that, however it's handled, hopefully we're given at least a chapter dedicated to that conversation, to that conflict between. If Kinemon decides to stay with Kiku, then it'll be Kinemon and Kiku, because I want Kinemon to be there with Kanjuro. I mean, Kinemon is like the leader of the group, per se, besides Odin. It's most certainly Kinemon, right? So I want Kinemon to be there whenever Kanjuro ends up passing, if that is where we are leading towards, because I do want those final moments to be shared between Kiku and Kinemon, because obviously that is where the biggest emotional connection to Kanjuro's character journey is, with those two characters. At least that's the way that Oda has built it up until this point, right? So I really want both of them to be there when Kanjuro doesn't end up passing. But I just wonder how he's going to handle it. Is he going to go the sympathetic type of route? Is he just going to go, they go in extremely mad, then they like step back a little bit. It's like, hold on. Like, I want to know the conversation that takes place there and the conflict that happens in that moment with Kanjuro. And so super stoked for that. The Nekomamushi stuff, man. Now, I was not expecting this. Of course, there's the connection between everyone there is Minx, but to have Nekomamushi now chasing Perospero, I was wondering, like, why is it that Perospero was allowed victory over Carrot and Wanda? I mean, that is, I thought for sure Carrot was going to go in and avenge Pedro. But now with Nekomamushi being able to, I'm going to assume, is going to take Perospero right back to the outside, because that's where he's going to thrive. So to have that, I do wonder if we're going to have a moment where Carrot is able to, rejuvenate and come right back up into like swimwear and maybe deliver the finishing blow on Perospero. But Nekomamushi and Perospero, Nekomamushi is a very formidable individual, and we know how formidable Perospero is. So just having the two of them duking it out as well, that is going to cause for some really fun stuff. I look forward to the way the panels are drawn and what kind of techniques you're going to be utilizing against each other. So that's going to be a ton of fun, man. I love me some Nekomamushi, dude. That's the cat, you know what I mean? So I'm actually like that's going to be one of the most highly anticipated moments from the retainers that I'm looking forward to the most, just because it is so deeply intertwined and connected to what's already taken place, right, with with Pedro's death and knowing how close he was to Pedro. Like I'm a sucker for stuff like that. So that emotional side of it, and then just seeing how Perospiro's going to handle the entire situation, while knowing exactly who Nekomamushi is. I wonder how we'll be able to either like go over here, because it's led to believe that he was able to somehow get out, because that's a massive W for Perospero. Taking on both Carrot and Wanda and Sulong. Now, granted, if the clouds were really covering the moon in the way that we believe, then obviously that's going to work it to your favor. But to be able to fight Nekomamushi with no clouds and straight moon, that's going to be something, man. So, and we're going to be able to see Perospero's, true greatness there in form. So looking forward to seeing some greatness from both of them, and some great character moments that I'm expecting from the two of them as well, because Perospero obviously has a lot of resolve within him as well. We saw that back in Whole Cake Island. He's a very loyal individual, and he's somebody who's very calculating. So he's very interesting. So I want to see more from Perospero for sure. But of course, I'll be in Nekomamushi's corner for what happens there. But then moving on, man. Now listen to me, bro. Yamato. If Yamato... Now, my original prediction back when Sanji left, when Robin took over and Sanji left, I was like, how awesome would it be for Marco, Sanji, and Yamato to take on King, Queen, and Jack, right? Now, this is pre-Marco going ham and delivering Suichin music, spears, choke slams. I mean, when he was doing all of those moves on King and Queen. So this was pre that, right? But here's the thing. Yamato is now going to be heading towards Luffy. The only way to get to Luffy, unless he utilizes her fruit, if the fruit is either something like a dragon or a wolf or a tiger, whatever it is, right? Whatever that thing ends up being, I mean, it kind of has to stay with the whole ancient Zoan thing. So it's got to be some sort of mythical thing. Of course, we've spoken on the whole tiger theory here on the channel, and the dragon theory. So whatever it ends up being, if it can possibly get her up to the rooftop without having to go through the live floor, then that will ruin what I'm trying to say here. And I will take that 100, as long as she makes it to the roof and we get Luffy and Yamato, because Luffy and Yamato interactions are always fantastic. I need some more merchandise with the two of them together. They're just always slagged out. But I need those moments with Yamato and Kaido to see how they interact in real time, because you already know that's potential King Luffy moments happening from that if Luffy starts seeing how Kaido treats Yamato. So I want to see that happen eventually, like Yamato and Luffy versus Kaido. I think that would be so much fun to see, just for the character moments, for the battle sequences. I mean, I'm down for that, son. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if Yamato's a future member of the Straw Hats, like, it's going to be greatness. But even before that, or if we don't end up getting that for a while, or whatever the case may be, on the live floor, if Yamato is truly headed to the live floor, because that is the only way to get to the roof, if you don't just magically go up there as a dragon or whatever, right? That is the plausible way to go up to the roof right now. Sanji, of course, is heading over there as well. So we can still have, because Zoro's going to be out of fruition for the foreseeable future, Marco's going to be able to work his magic. Chopper will be able to work his magic. Law's there too, so the doctors are there. Zoro will be fine. He'll be able to leave that SpongeBob or Squidward type of mode over here. You know what I mean, with the bandaged up thing, or whether he's Nicholas D. Wolfwood or whatever is going on, right? With with Zoro. I'm telling you, hilarious chapter. But whatever's going on with Zoro, he'll be good. We're gonna see him in action eventually. Whenever the time comes, the time will come. But for right now, the hot tag is given to Sanji. So Sanji's going to be heading off to the live floor, and we know who's on the live floor, son. We know that King, Queen, and Jack are ready. They are ready to receive the whooping from Mr. Prince. They are ready for Sanji to go up in like swimwear and raid suit and start poning. Now listen, if we actually get moments, I want to see Sanji and Yamato interact. For comedic and for character purposes, I need that in my existence. But first and foremost, I really want to see if Oda is going to give us at the very least one panel or one page or one chapter of these individuals throwing hands. I'm talking Sanji, Yamato, and Marco versus King, Queen, and Jack. That is something I genuinely want to see, right? So if we start seeing that, Or we see that, Yamato stays there for the time being, but then she's like, yo, Sanji's taking care of business and Marco's taking care of business. I can head up to the rooftop and leave these things to them. Or whatever the case may be, right? And Sanji's like, yo, don't worry. I'll take care of this, bro. These dudes, they ain't nothing to me. They ain't nothing to me. And he pulls out some greatness in the raid suit. Now, this is just me as, of course, headcanon and whatever, but I'd be down for stuff like that, man. I guess the main thing I'm trying to get to is I'm super excited for the character interactions and the possibilities of matchups of Sanji and Yamato heading off in the same direction, right, towards the life floor, because that is where the top tiers besides, under Kaido are. That's where they are, man. And so Yamato, obviously the objective is to get to Luffy, but in order to get to Luffy, you have to eventually get to King and Queen, and they know exactly who Yamato is. Going to be like, yo, Master Yamato, what are you doing over here? We can't let you, do whatever, or whatever is going to happen there. And then Sanji's going to be like, you're not going to let her do what? So it's going to cause for some fun stuff, man. I'm genuinely excited for it. So, the potential for Yamato's character, as I've stated many times, is off the charts. So every time I see Yamato, I'm always, just like, yes, some more Yamato greatness. But yeah, so super excited on that end when it comes to the possibilities of what's going to happen whenever they end up going to the life floor together. Now, when it comes to Momonosuke now is going to read through this log, the legendary Odin's journal. What is going to come from this? Because Momonosuke, from this journal, I'm sure this journal has a lot of information, a lot of crazy information. And Shinobu's going to be able to get some of this information as well. But for Momonosuke's future in the story, whatever Momonosuke is going to read here, regardless of whatever information it is, I don't care if it's the Void Century, the Will of D, the One Piece, whatever it is, I think all of that is going to be secondary to what this is going to do to his character. I think that reading through his father's journal is going to motivate Momonosuke to make his move. I believe that after he reads Odin's journal, it's going to be Momonosuke's time to be like, you know what, dude? I'm tired of being left out of this. I'm tired of not being a part of this. This is my fight. This is what I'm doing. I'm the future shogun of Wano Kuni, and I'm going to take care of business right now, son. You know what I mean? So I think this is going to be right after he finishes the journal, or at the very least, the next time that we see him, we're going to see him with some brand newfound motivation and a completely different Momonosuke. And the Momonosuke that we see in different bits and pieces, right? Because we've seen the greatness of Momonosuke delivering his legendary speeches in Wano thus far, right? We see the potential there. And I think that reading this journal is going to be the next step in achieving that potential of becoming the future shogun of Wano Kuni. So whenever it is that we see him again, we're going to see a Momonosuke who is like, yo, let's get down to business. You know what I mean? I'm the future shogun. Who wants it? And it's going to be a really interesting, just seeing if he does show this off in front of, I don't know if he goes up to the roof, ends up with Luffy. I don't know if he runs into Orochi. I don't know, whoever he ends up running into, maybe the retainers, they're going to see that resolve and that difference within him, and he's not going to back down whatsoever. Momonosuke's always been the type of dude, but to have this newfound resolve after reading this journal and seeing what type of dude his father really, really was, oh man, it's going to be great. Really can't wait to see more from Momonosuke's character, especially with what Oda was implying with CP0 and the failed smile fruit that, of course, he has. So there's a lot of potential there when it comes to his smile dragon and whatnot. And so a lot of different things that happen with Momonosuke, but in terms of just his character is going to come out of this. Yo, Momonosuke is going to be a beast after he reads this journal, man. And newfound motivations, and it's going to be great to see it. And now we get to the hilarious and amazing part of this chapter in terms of finally getting Sanji and Zoro together in the most unexpected way. Sanji carrying Zoro. Yo, Law, I saw a comment that was like, yo, Law is even swagged out while landing on people. That's so true. Law, this entire arc, every time we see him, he's just dripped out, man. Just like, yeah, I'm Trafalgar Law. Who's gonna do something about it? I'm gonna take care of business. He just, even in the most drastic situations, my man always looks raw. This is Law greatness, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, great comedic interactions, just classic One Piece right here. I really, really loved a lot of this for the characters, but also, we see the things to bring them together, man. You know what I mean? It's just this part right here, how's Luffy doing up there? And Zoro's like, yo, he's gonna win, bro. I saw something, man. He's gonna win it. And then Sanji's like, yo, of course he is, obviously. And I loved it. Just amazing stuff. And now we see them all heading towards the live floor. And like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of potential here, man. There is, I mean, obviously with what's already taken place with Sanji in this arc, Oda, he has something special in store for Sanji, man. I feel it within my bones. I've been feeling it since the very beginning. You know, very beginning of Onigashima, whenever he put on the gloves and this burgundy suit, son, I was like, yo, Oda's not giving him that unless he's going ham in this arc. So we're going to see some craziness from here. I know y'all always hear me say, you know, he's going to pwn King, Queen, and Jack. You know, all biased aside towards Sanji and the Mr. Prince stuff. If my dude just gets his moments here, man, if Sanji's able to show out here with his character and with some feats, I'll be good. I'll be like, yo, it was the hot tag, both Sanji and Zoro, the monster trio, the whole crew showing out here in Onigashima. But I need my Sanji greatness here to come in soon, man. I'm fiending for it. I want it because we got to see some tastes of it back during the Black Maria interaction. And then we haven't seen him in like 10 chapters. So now I'm going to assume we're going to stay around this part until Sanji gets his battle or until he gets his matchup. And then that's whenever we're going to start rotating through the fights to the finish up until we get to Kaido versus Luffy. But here's the thing, man. I need, at some point in time, I don't care when it is, from here until the end of the arc, I need to see what Sanji has in store when it comes to this raid suit, because we've barely seen it, and the little bit that we've seen from it is always hype. Whenever we get to see the raid suit in full-on action, panel to panel, page to page, and we start seeing what it's fully capable of, it is going to be glorious. I actually really want a scene where when Zoro gets back up and he's ready to go, he's good to go, I need Sanji and Zoro fighting together, bro, because that'll be the first time since the Davy back fight. Well, since earlier on in this arc, right? Early on in this arc, they technically fought together against everybody that was there, especially in the anime. But the Davy back fight, they fought a tag team match, right? A true tag team match. And it calls for some of the most hilarious and amazing battle sequences in the whole series. But for the two of them to work together to take on a common enemy in someone like a king and queen or whatever the case may be, I would be losing my mind, bro. I would be so hyped and happy to see the two of them working together, and it would cause for an extremely memorable sequence. I mean, you would always be able to look back on Onigashima and be like, man, that was the arc when Sanji and Zoro went ham on two other individuals who were the executives, the right and left hands of Kaido. The right and left hands of Kaido versus the right and left hands of Luffy. I mean, you can't write it any better, right? So I hope that whenever Zoro gets back up from his sleep, because we know that Zoro always manages to recover thanks to sleeping. So whenever he ends up getting back up and Marco, Chopper end up doing their thing, it's going to be some time for some greatness, man. And so definitely looking forward to Sanji showing out by himself. But whenever we get to Sanji and Zoro together showing out and doing what they do, that's going to be so much fun. And man, just so much potential for Straw Hat greatness in Onigashima. And we've already seen so many incredible moments from the Straw Hats, and the arc has only been going on for almost 30 chapters. You know, we're about to reach the 30th chapter in the next 2 weeks. And it's already, Onigashima to me is already one of my favorite sections in the whole story. And we haven't even gotten to the climaxes of their awesome moments, right? So a lot of potential for some of the best moments of the Straw Hats throughout the entire series. And I couldn't be more excited, man. Yo, this live floor stuff, when we get back to the live floor and we have Marco there, we have Zoro getting treated on, but we have Yamato and Sanji there. Let's go, man. That's gonna be great. But yeah, man, a lot of potential. This week's chapter, the momentum, the flow, everything just went, you know, bam, 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 and just great moments back to back to back to back. Some emotional, some hilarious, some fantastic with that Nami greatness. But all of it is leading us towards what is about to take place next. And so it just continues to build on the hype and the craziness of Onigashima. And man, what an awesome chapter, honestly. A really, really awesome chapter. But yo, I hope it is an awesome stuff today. Let me know what y'all thought about this week's chapter in the comment section down below. And if you have anything else to add, if you commented on the reaction, if there's anything else that you want to add on to, you know, to the afterthoughts, whatever the case may be, maybe something that I said or whatever it is, man, I'll be looking forward to reading that in the comment section down below. But until then, awesome chapter. Cannot wait for the next one. There's no break though. So next week, we'll be back in the next swimwear. Y'all have a blessed one. Peace out, man.